Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. We're here for another Par Force Book 4 video. And what we're going to be talking about today is Tommy Egan. And what's he going to choose? What is the future after Force? And I think that's the problem with these spin-offs. And I think you've seen it with The Walking Dead. It's like, see the spin-offs that they're actually centred around, like Daryl, Negan, Maggie, Rick's one. I mean, I think there was a wee bit of potential that they could have killed Rick. But see, with Power Book 2 Ghost, you knew Tyreek wasn't dying. You knew. And I think what you've got to do with that is protect the integrity of a show, because when you look at it, it's like, well, if you know these guys can't die, don't get them into absolutely ridiculous situations. But they've done that. I think Tommy Egan in Force, he's been alright, but when you actually look at it and you look at all the stuff that he's been getting into, I mean, he arrived in Chicago by himself. I've lost count of how many warnings that Walter Flynn gave him. Then you factor in like the cartel and everybody. It is a bit forced, but I mean, what's going to happen at the end of this season? Is he going to get with the love of his life? The guy's sister? I mean, probably not. I mean, we've seen in the Power franchise, everyone Tommy gets close to, Holly, Lakeisha, they always end up dying. Holly, how did Holly even die? Why, Tommy choked her. No, that's a valid point. Tommy choked her to death. Absolutely brutal. We've seen Lakeisha getting killed by Tasha. I mean, apart from those two, I mean, Tommy, he's had a few other relationships, but for the most part, I always thought he would have went for Claudia Flynn, but obviously, whatever way they wanted to book Claudia Flynn, she's not going to go down that way. But I mean, at the end of this season, I'm going to assume him and Tyreek. I mean, is Tyreek going to be like the co-star, like the co-main event? Is he going to be in there with Tommy Egan for the whole length of this season, or is it going to be like Tyreek appears like sporadically? I think that depends. But I mean, in terms of the decision, Chicago's done for. You know, we've had 3 seasons of Chicago. I mean, I like the fact that Power Book, you know, like you're seeing like different cities, but you know, you've got Origins. It's obviously going to be in New York. You've got Raising Kanan, that is obviously in New York. You've got Power Book 2, which was obviously in New York. So, I mean, I think Tommy Egan returning to New York for another show after Force is, I mean, I'd say it's off the table. Like, I mean, I like the franchise, but at the end of the day, who really wants to see another spin-off back in New York? I mean, I think if you were getting like Ghost back with Tommy and Tyreek and other people back for like one last hurrah of the show, like, by all means go for it. Like, but I think if they're ever going to try something with Tommy Egan, I think we'll go to California. I think it'll be California. I mean, that's what his original plan was. I think he's just have to go to California. I mean, there's other cities in America that you can go to. Obviously California's not a city. I mean, LA, San Francisco. I mean, Florida. I mean, Miami. We've already seen Ghost go to Miami for a wee bit in season 2, and then obviously Dre and Pink Sneakers were down there. I mean, what other cities have we seen in Par? I feel like that. I mean, I can't imagine them going to Texas. You know what I mean? I feel like California. I mean, what other team? Baltimore? Maryland? I mean, I don't know. I think Baltimore, Maryland's just actually too much of a shithole city. Like, you know, Chicago's rough as fuck, man, gun crime, but I don't know. I think Chicago looks decent. Anytime you see like Baltimore portrayed in a TV show like The Wire, or in real life, it looks horrific, and I just don't know if you could really do Par again, like in Baltimore, and it would just feel like a Wire ripoff. So I think Tommy would choose California over New York, to be honest, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes, troops, to be honest, because you got to see how Force ends. I mean, obviously Tommy's going to survive Force, but I mean, I'm not too convinced otherwise about what's actually going to happen. I mean, you're going to get Origins, Raising Kanan's got minimum 2 seasons left, but I think with 2 seasons that's going to catch up to the beginning of Origins, and then are we just going to have Origins for par left? Who knows, but hopefully they can sort season 3 or 4 out soon and we'll be back covering it. But until then, I'm picking Cali.